Welcome back to Running with the Wolves. Today we have Stephanie Brown, ran with Arkansas, formerly Big Bear Track Club and Nike, and currently looking for another deal and getting ready to race this weekend at University of Washington and hopefully get a spot at World Indoors. Thank you for coming on, Stephanie. Means a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped.
As am I. And then an announcement for everyone else. This is my first podcasts after going solo. Christian and I split for creative differences. So to all you guys, thanks for watching and thanks for supporting through it. But anyways, to get things started off, Stephanie, what do you have planned for indoor season leading up to World Indoors?
Yeah, so right now I'm kind of in this interesting position. I got hurt last year, and so I ran outdoors just to not have a huge gap of not racing. Um, so I don't really have any times right now. So I'm going to UW this coming weekend to run a 1K and a 3K to kind of show where I'm at. So hopefully I'll get some good times and then get basically show the races that I'm fit and I'm ready to run and that I can get back in those elite fields where I left off last time I was running indoors. So that's basically the plan right now. I don't have races set, but I know that I'm going to run UW and then see what happens and then hopefully get that world standard, head to Albuquerque and give it my best go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what races do you plan on running in Albuquerque? If you're going to Albuquerque, what races do you plan on running to try to qualify?
Yeah, so I'm going to focus on the 1500. It's kind of just a 1500 runner now. I run the 800 still, and I love the 800, but it's definitely hard being here with the 200 flat track to get like true 800 training. So I'll push more focus on the 800 and outdoors to try to get my time down. But for right now, just focusing on the 1500 and solely that. So mile 1500, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, whichever it may be. I know it's 1500 at Worlds. If it at US, if it weren't a World, I guess it'd be the mile probably for most years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anyways, what was it like going back to college days? What was it like running at Arkansas under obviously a very storied program that is used to winning a lot?
So when I came on the team, we were kind of a young rebuilding team. So I didn't really know. I mean, I knew we were, I know Arkansas is a big deal in the winning tradition and everything, but we were just building back up. So I came at a little bit of a different time. We had my freshman year, though, we did have a good middle distance group, but we were all freshmen and sophomores. So we really had a good push through there. So I think it was just fun to not only be at Arkansas, but kind of be like, all right, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna get us back to winning and being up top. And so we there was a few of us that really wanted it, and I think when we started to look, it was people like me, Regina George, then Kristen Gillespie. She was super competitive, and she actually played basketball at Arkansas and quit and just started running. And she ended up being All-American multiple times in cross country and track. And then we got this spew of freshmen my junior year that were all just feisty, and we had Dominique Scott and then Jessica Jackson Camilos now and Caitlin Flatman, and they came in and it was just this fiery little thing we had going on. And then we had some girls that maybe weren't seen as your fastest coming out of high school, but just they wanted it too because it was the atmosphere. And we had a girl, Grace Himesfield, who was multiple time All-American, go from being a 5 flat miler to being like 4:34 miler. So we had a huge upbringing, and it was super fun because I think we all clicked really well together, and we, even when we were getting a little more competitive than we needed to, we really pushed each other to be great. And by the year after I graduated, we got to see the whole team win indoor nationals, and I think that was just accumulation of not only the sprint squad and everybody on that end, but also our end saying like, hey, we want to be just as good as guys, and we're going to be, because we have no excuses not to be. So it was to kind of, even though I wasn't on the team anymore, and I know some of my other friends were like, man, we missed it, we weren't on the team anymore, you could still feel like you were a part of that progression. So it was an awesome time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, they wouldn't have been there if you hadn't, brought them up with you. So you guys did a service to them.
And before us, we had some great leaders. Really, when I came to school, I was welcomed with open arms, this spicy little freshman, and I couldn't be more thankful for those girls to really make me feel at home and teach me like what being a Razorback meant.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you had told me, we had talked before, and you said you weren't the fastest in cross country in high school. It would translate to 18 low for 5K, so 17 high for 3 mile. What was it like coming as a cross country runner from high school to college for you? What was a huge difference for you?
So I just wasn't, I tried. I swear. I thought I was good at cross country. Every year I was like, this is going to be the year that I'm going to be cross country runner. And I think, so my freshman year, I actually got mono. So coming into college, I was in no kind of shape. But just throughout every day going to practice and frankly getting my ass kicked, I took on the motto that I was just going to go for it and die a little less every single day. So it wasn't so much like this big thing. I just wanted to hold on for a little bit longer. So that was really, I redshirted freshman year, and then my sophomore year we had some people graduate and then people transfer, and the girls that were there, we were like, hey, we're gonna, if not us, then who? So by my sophomore year, I just took on a little more serious of a role, because I think the understanding of being a Razorback and like wanting it for the team, I just got it. So that summer I took it really seriously, and then came into cross and ended up placing 5th at conference and being freshman of the year, even though I was a redshirt freshman. But big accomplishment for me, just being the non-cross country runner. And even from then on, cross country was still kind of a struggle for me. But when it came down to the big meets and everything, I think over time I learned that it wasn't that I could just do it for my team and kind of wrap my head around that instead of being out there and feeling sorry for myself. I thought about everybody else going through it too. So if it weren't for the hogs and the girls I was running for and my coach and my program, I don't think I would have been that good at cross country, but I ended up being decent.
In top 100 nationals is obviously no small feat. And then I guess the other jump you've made now is from college to pro. What does that jump been like?
Oh, well, I think the main thing is seeing it as a job. That was hard for me at first, because it feels more stressful, but the way you have less stress because it's just all on you. You don't let other people down as much. I mean, you have your support staff and everybody's on your team and they mean a lot, but as far as your points for like a national title or a conference title, you're not gonna disappoint anyone with those when you're pro. And then also that the season, you're not always racing, so there's just this huge gap where you don't race, and it's kind of different, and it's something you just have to get used to about being a little more measured in your peak. And when the college kids start going, you want to be like, all right, let's go, it's go time. But outdoors, you can't go hard when the college kids are going hard, or else you're not going to make August and September. Yeah, so it's hard that way, but it's also kind of fun because I think you get to build excitement into races instead of just always racing. It's like we get to take our time and kind of get really hyped up to race. So yeah.
So I know obviously you had a very strong 2016 and ran awesome in 2016, and went to 2017, and obviously had an injury in the shin. What was that like coming back from it?
Yeah, so I remember in college I got hurt once. That was pretty big, and I just thought, man, if I ever have to come back from that long of an injury again, I'm not going to make it. And so I remember kept thinking that during this comeback was like, oh, I thought I wasn't going to do this again, and here I am. But it was hard. I mean, last year was hard mostly because when I got hurt was right when I moved to Bozeman, a little bit after. It was really running on the snow, and then not, and then thinking it was a little thing, and so I kept trying to run, and just eventually my shin just wasn't having it. So I had to pull the plug and just start cross training. But it was hard being in a new atmosphere with new people and I really wanted to help the team a lot and just, be kind of a role model for them. But I was on the sidelines having to do it from an elliptical. So it was a hard process for me because I'm usually so social and so into what everyone else is doing, but I had to kind of take a step back and almost remove myself sometimes because it's too hard when you're hurt. Like you can't always be positive, and so I was trying to be that role model and take care of myself and try to figure out what was wrong all at the same time. So that was like mentally challenging. And then the comeback, I was just last summer I raced, and the comeback was I was making a lot more headway in workouts than I was in races. And I think it was a mental struggle to know what type of shape I was in and that I wasn't going to win. So like going into these races, this little mile circuit we have, pretty much on the East Coast it was like, I knew I wasn't in good enough shape to win. I knew maybe I could run 4:35, but when you're used to being one of the people that's like, okay, I could win this race and all the same girls I've always raced, to being like, I need to sit back, be mid-pack, and be okay with it. It was really hard for me, and it made racing feel a lot tougher than it probably should have felt. But I was glad I went and did that, because I think if I hadn't, this gap of not racing would have been incredible. So I've had a really good fall now, and I think I'm pretty much completely back in the fitness I was beforehand. So I'm having the workouts I'm used to having now instead of being slow. So yeah.
All right, so I guess the next question is, how did you get out to Montana? What brought you out there?
Oh, this story. So I ran at Arkansas, and then I stayed there directly after college and ran my first year and a half pro. While all along I was being recruited by Big Bear Track Club. And so I said, okay, like finally I decided it seemed like a quick decision, but it really wasn't. Like I was thinking about like just having other professional runners to run with for a while. Nothing against Arkansas. I mean, I had great coaches, I had great trainers, I had great medical, I had great facilities. Like it wasn't anything about that. But when I started Arkansas, I had Kristen Worth Thomas, who pushed me like you wouldn't believe. And so I thought running with Brenda would really turn me around, just be like, all right, let's get feisty. Like I want to be world class. I don't want to be, I want to be that person. I want to get there. And so I decided to move out to California, and once I was there, it was good, and then all of a sudden it wasn't, and they didn't want me on the team anymore, and it was really hard because I didn't know what I did wrong, and I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. So they just have their own agenda, and I wish them all the best of luck, but I personally, even after that happened and everything, like I seek a more like structured, like stable group. They're filtering through people like crazy, and it's just hard because you want to feel, as a runner, you want stability around you. Everything starts to matter. So anyways, after that, I actually I had just started dating Christian Serratos, and so he was just like, all right, this is crazy, and let's talk to my college coach. So I said, okay. So I talked to his college coach, and he's like, what do you want from me? And I said, do you want guidance or do you want to be coached? And I'm like, I need to be coached. So he took me on, and then we also had a guy that I met through a Illinois connection to Chico State that was in California on the other side of the mountain in Big Bear, who started coaching with Lyle. So I had AJ Police and then Lyle Weiss coaching me together, and then also I ended up with a training partner from Parknell Community College named Mario, and so he was doing altitude with us, and he would just train with me, and we were really partners. And so we kind of just slacked it together and just made the best out of everything. And it was a tough time, but it was like a learning experience, and it was really cool to see. Yeah, it was really cool to see the amount of people that were willing to help when people that you wouldn't even expect. I mean, AJ, we didn't even know this guy, and he would be at every workout, whether it was 200s on the track or a big, hard, tough session. So that was cool. And then after that summer was crazy, because me and Christian were getting contacted by every single group and different things. I'd go to meets, and it was just like, what are you doing next year? And all the time. And I was so good of friends with so many people that I just kept thinking, I don't know what I'm doing next year, But so eventually Christian and I decided we should talk about it once my season was over. So my season ended because his season ended a little bit earlier, so I was still racing. So the season ended, and we just both kind of started talking, and just we had a lot of faith in Lyle. And so we called up Lyle. We said, we want to check out Bozeman, because I had never been. So it was I need to go check out Bozeman and see what this is all about. It's 5,000 feet elevation. My Lyle was in good enough shape to be running with anybody, basically. And then there was other people that could run with me, and then Christian would have the guys team to, help him. So we went on kind of a little visit and checked it out, and then basically we were like, all right, we need to find a place to stay, and we're going to move here. So our lease was up. We were waiting till our lease was up. So our lease was up, and then we drove back to California, and then packed our stuff, and then drove to Bozeman. So it was just it seems like crazy, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, moving was crazy, but we decided we wanted to. I had new success with Lyle in a different way. I didn't run faster times, but I felt really good with him, and I thought this is I want to kind of get some stability again. So I was I know this training, I'm starting to get used to it just now, so why would let's go for it. So yeah, so it was hard to say no to all of our friends and all these great opportunities. I mean, it was just crazy, because I didn't know it was going to happen after everything, but it was nice to see the community was still super supportive, and they wanted us to come run every direction. And so yeah, it was kind of crazy, but yeah, we decided to come to Montana, and here we are.
So now that you're in Montana, what is that like to be training in the mountains in Montana with 10 people in your town?
No, it's not like that. So Bozeman is the hip part of Montana. I don't think you understand. It's like mini Boulder out here. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, you stand in the middle of the town or anywhere in town, and you can make a circle, and just spin your body around, and there's a beautiful view in every direction. So that's really awesome. And sometimes I just have to I come from Illinois, so it's flat cornfields, and so sometimes they're just do I really live here? This is a postcard. So that's awesome. There's I really, yeah, the 5,000 feet elevation is nice. It's like perfect. You can get pretty much a benefit, but you can also tweak your workouts just enough to where you could get the speed and everything that you would at sea level. So that's super nice. Adjustment of snow. There's more snow, but I was kind of used. That's not a big deal to me. Yeah, I did hurt myself on the snow. I had some because I hadn't run on it in so long with the drought we kind of had. And then in Arkansas, we would play it so safe when it was snow. We would run inside a million laps around the indoors. So yeah, that's kind of an adjustment, but not really for me. Like I don't mind the treadmill so much. It is hard because sometimes you have to do workouts on there, but when you don't expect to, but that's okay.
Run a workout on a treadmill. Obviously, a lot of people do it, just hop on there for mileage. What is it like to run a workout on there?
Yeah, workouts on the treadmill are actually pretty fun. I enjoy them because it reminds me of a track because it's like I see every single split or everything that's happening. If you don't do the pace, you just fall off. So that's kind of like make or break. And I also think that if I'm doing like a tempo, once I click it up faster, I feel like a baby if I slow it back down. So it's kind of a mental game, but some people aren't fond of it. I did some in high school, so it's not that far from normal to me. I even did some in college because we would get snow nights in Arkansas, believe it or not. And so it's not my first time running tempos or mile repeats on the treadmill. It is a little bit harder when it starts to get to be shorter than mile repeats. That gets a little bit challenging, and you have to find a treadmill that's fast enough to go. But sometimes I can't even do that. So because the treadmills aren't fast enough, we'll have to like up the incline and run, less rest and just kind of make do. And I think that's been it sounds like maybe not the best, but I think it's been really good for me. Also, like running on a 200 flat track has been an adjustment for me after being spoiled. Art was so spoiled. Yeah, I was maybe didn't even realize how spoiled I was. I knew great track and I would brag about it a lot, but now I know it was spoiled. So yeah, been some adjustments.
Yeah, well, I mean, me being from Florida, the only indoor track in the state of Florida was at UF, and that was 200 flat. And I don't know, I don't know how fondly I look on a 200 flat track.
Yeah, it's a different thing, but I think that's a thing that I've learned just from since I've left my little comfort at Arkansas was that you have to roll with the punches, and it's okay to be uncomfortable, and it's okay to not have things go perfectly. If you can like slough it off and just go with it, you're gonna do so much better, so much more often. And I think even that will carry into races, and especially traveling overseas, things just don't go perfectly, and you just have to be like, well,
So, what's your funniest story? If I guess was your treadmill in your house or is it at a gym somewhere?
I've been at gyms, and my dad got me a treadmill for Christmas, so still spoiled, So, but yeah, I haven't done workouts on that one yet. But are you gonna ask about treadmill workout story? No.
Yeah. What's your funniest story of being on the treadmill at the gym? People around you doing weird things.
Okay, I have a terrible story. It's like, but okay. I was at home in Illinois in college, my fifth year senior year. So going into like the best indoor season I had, I was doing 800 repeats at I don't even know, 230 with a minute rest or something or 230 and then down. And I don't know why I'm doing this. I think so. I was like doing this and then like jumping on the other one instead of like standing on the sides of it. I think because it's like kind of hard to stand that way. But I'll just suck it up now because of the story. So, and this is like a health club, like a family place. So I'm like sprinting on this treadmill for, longer than people are used to seeing, and then sprinting, and then like hopping off and then doing it again. And so there's tons of treadmills open around me, so I don't feel bad about standing on one next to me. Well, this old guy starts walking up, and I'm on a break, and he starts walking towards my treadmill, and I'm just like, oh, no. And so I start screaming at him, and I don't know how old he is. Like, he's so old. I know you already know it's gonna happen. And it's like, no, don't do it. Like, don't step on the treadmill. Like, just screaming at him. And he did it. He stepped on the treadmill and then went down. Like, I mean, poor guy. Like, it was going so fast, like probably 5 flat or under pace, and he tries to put his, and I didn't know what to do, and like other people went to help him, and I just like, my rest was up, so I like hop on the treadmill and I start doing another interval, and then afterwards I just like, I don't know, I ended up, I had, maybe it was, he said 6 to 8, and that was my last one. It was my last one if I hit 6, and I think I did 7. I was just like, I can't do anymore. Like, I was so stressed out, and then afterwards I started crying, and I was just like, I felt so bad. But he was okay, so that was the good news. Was like, they ended up helping him up, and he was walking on the treadmill nearby, like soon after. I did feel so bad, but I also thought like maybe he should walk on the indoor track that was there. And I don't know. So for now on, I don't really stand on the treadmill next to me. I kind of guard my treadmill. So if anyone tries to come, I'm going to make sure they're not going to get on it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no. I remember probably my funniest story with a treadmill, similar, I guess. Well, no one tried to step on my treadmill. But over this past summer, trying to get fit for training in college, actually. I had just come back from having a real tender Achilles after track season. I'm just trying to get fit for college cross. So my coach was like, all right, 6 to 8 miles. I just average anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30. So I'm sitting here. I did my first few at 7:30. So I'm like, all right, I can go like 5:45. There's this like 11-year-old girl next to me, really chubby 11-year-old girl on the treadmill next to me. She looks at the pace I'm running. I'm like 5:45, and this girl's like. And so she puts up her treadmill at 5:45, and she's on it for about 10 seconds. I just look over, and I just see her slam on the stop button as hard as she can, and goes flying. And about 5 minutes later, she did the same thing.
Over break this year, I was on a treadmill that was like over the top of the weight room, and I guess I was kind of, I don't know, starting at a ruckus, because I'd be like it was freezing in Illinois. It was so cold, so you couldn't run outside. Like it was unbearable. And no, so I started saying that when I was doing workouts, it was like shooting off flares, because everyone would be like, what's going on with this little like pitter patter feet for like extended periods of time. So yeah. You definitely, when you're going that fast, people start to notice.
There's definitely fun stories that go on at health clubs when there's other people around on treadmills, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess the one question: what's your favorite workout? You're a miler. What's your favorite workout?
Oh man, my favorite workout. Gosh, this is hard. Because I do like doing sets of 400s at mile pace, but I think my favorite workouts are like probably 800-meter workouts because I feel so accomplished after them when I do well. I like running 6x400 with 5 minutes rest, trying to run sub 60 for all of them. It's a challenge every single time. It just seems to, I mean, you get so, at this point, I can get faster at it, but it's so little at a time. I like that. I like anything that's just like 200s. 200s are great. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I like doing 800s cut down too, like 3x800 at mile pace cut down with 5 minutes rest, because it's so hard, but like it's cool to finish. It's cool to run 800s at basically a pace that you IPR, and just, it can get me psyched up. I think any workout that gets me psyched up, I like. So yeah.
Now, have you thought after, as your career goes on, that you might step up in distance to anything above the 5K?
Above the 5K, I mean, I think I could run pretty good in a half marathon, but not like not like balling. I think like good, but we'll see. I don't think like longer ones will be for me. Like by that time, I guess I should just start doing something else. But I do have this like I am so interested in the steeple, and I I always say it, and I think people think I'm joking, but I'm not. Like, I'm super interested in it, and I'm kind of just biding my time because it's a little late to just jump into it as like a steeple-chaser, because I'm kind of in this weird, like, I still have room in the 1500, and I want to like give that its full chance. And if I steeple and get hurt, I would just hate myself. So it's almost like maybe an end of career thing. I'll be jumping in the steeple, maybe the 5K, just to see what happens. But yeah, my main thing is going to be the 15.
This is pretty much 15.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Yeah, exactly. So I am running my first 3K, so we'll see. This is my goal. We'll see.
You're running your first 3? It's going to be your first 3K?
Yeah, I've run a couple of 5Ks, but I haven't run a 3K. And it's not because I didn't want to, or like my coach didn't want me to through college stuff. We just don't have time. I mean, when you're a middle distance runner in college, I think everyone knows, like, you got to get on the horse and get going. Like, there's the Rust Buster, and then there's DMR. You got conference, you got the mile and the 800. It's like you're trying to qualify in all these events, and then also meet and everything. So yeah, it's not enough time to run other events. So I basically just focused in on those middle distances and didn't have the room to spread out. And I started running the 4x4 my senior year randomly. Yeah, it was sad. I mean, it was just because we had girls injured that needed to run. So our 4x4 was great. Like, usually, like, they're up there. But so I would anchor it. They didn't want to get out of the race, so I would anchor it. And it was hard. I would get the baton in the lead with like girls that could run 50-second 400s behind me. I'm just like trying to run my 54 as well as I can, like every time. Like, come on. Yeah, so, and they just blow back. But at least I did 60. So that was the best I ever ran. I 55 a lot more often, which is also what I do. So I just kind of stayed the same, but that's okay.
Anyways, so I guess the final question I have for you, Christian, I guess, well, now just myself, are interested in what has running meant to you spiritually as like a human being outside of the competition aspect? Obviously, competition's awesome and it's fun to hear about, but what has running done for you spiritually as a person?
That's tough. I think it's like the most I get really deep about running for sure. I might not seem like I'm like that, but it's like the most. I think what it does is it connects you to like who you really are more than anything else. Because there's so much in it that is, in the tough times, that it can just, you get to a hard place and you have to really you have to find yourself to get through it. So that, and just always being there, even when you're hurt, somehow it's always there, because you we get to feel a lot more. And I think that's the thing, like, even when I'm hurt, I get to feel, I know it's sad to say, but I get to feel depressed about something I care about that much. So I've always had this sense of there's something I care about more than most people ever get to feel. And so I get to feel that. I get to feel, the endorphins, the happiness. So, and then, just the normal. You just get a lot more from it than I think other sports. Yeah. I mean, there's other sports for sure, but that maybe they feel the same way. But just endurance sports have a different vibe, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vibe.
I agree. Well, yeah, I think endurance sports probably, not if there's anyone watching that's not an endurance sport athlete, I'm sorry, but they probably take the most commitment. They probably take the most commitment to training because there's not really, you can only go so far with natural talent if you're not going to train.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can definitely, talent is important, but it's not everything. Talent, I think I used to say, write this down, talent ain't enough. So, just because, I mean, it's not, everyone wants it, so you got to be willing to work for it, and you have to be smart too. So, it's a science and spiritual. It's so many things wrapped into one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome. It's been a good time.
Thanks for having me. Sorry, the sun is going down. It's getting dark in my room.
Oh, it's okay. That's fine. I apologize for all the technical difficulties, but it's been great to have you on. And if you have anything else, if you have any parting remarks, let them be heard.
I'll be back 2018.
All right.
That's all I got.